Welcome in to The Charge, a Milligan Athletics podcast. We've got episode 2 on tap for you here today. Let's talk a little bit about what's been going on here on campus at Milligan over the last couple of weeks. We'll start off with golf. Golf just played tournaments, men's and women's, as the men played down in Ottawa against Bryan College at the Bryan Fall Invitational. They had a really good showing. They finished in third place out of 11 teams in that tournament. Francisco de Bethencourt had a great week, tied for fifth in that tournament and became an all-tournament honoree. On the women's side, they played up at Gibson Bay Golf Club up in Richmond, Kentucky, and that was hosted in tandem by Lindsey Wilson College and University of the Cumberlands. The Buffaloes placed fourth out of 6 teams in that one. Some really good competition in that one, some really highly ranked NAIA squads, and Bailey Magaha tied for fourth in that event as an individual, also winning all tournament honors for women's golf. Both of those two teams now look forward to their final fall events. It is the Appalachian Athletic Conference Fall Preview Championship, as the women this coming weekend will play theirs down in Ackworth, and then the men will be in Adairsville the following week. Volleyball here at Milligan has gotten underway right in the middle of the season. The Buffaloes coming off a loss to CIU at home on Saturday. They now will play Montreat coming up here on Thursday evening, October the 16th, as they will head to Swannanoa, North Carolina, where they'll play at Asheville Christian Academy. Prior to that, the Buffaloes had won 2 straight before the loss to CIU, as they took down Spartanburg Methodist in a 3-2 matchup. They also took down Pikeville, who at the time was 5-1 in AAC play, 3-1. So Buffalo's playing a lot better on the court of late, and that's been a huge development for them as they head toward the second half of their conference schedule, start to play teams twice. So looking forward to seeing where they will go. Men's soccer, they just fell last night to Pikeville. Unfortunately, that's going to end their chances of coming away with the regular season title. Union Commonwealth with no losses, and the Buffs with 3 losses now, with only 2 games left to play. That makes it so that the Buffs cannot any longer take the regular season title. So just be up to figuring out where the seeding is going to end up for the Buffs now, as they head into their final home match this weekend on Saturday against Union Commonwealth, the leader of the conference, as they look to pull an upset and maybe give them a chance to host the first round. It's going to be up to their last game there against Union to figure out where they're going to be seeded for the AAC tournament that's coming up and starts on October 31st. Women's soccer last night pulled off a win against Pikeville, a team, Pikeville, coming in at 5-2-2 in conference. The Buffs were at 6-2-2, so 2 teams that were in very similar spots in the standings, right in that 4th, 5th, 6th range. And so the Buffs with that win, that's a huge launching pad forward for them as they head into their final 3 matches of the regular season. They've got Union at home, and then they've got on Saturday, and then they've got Truett McConnell at home on Sunday, as that was a makeup game from earlier in the year, a rain out here at Anglin Field. So back-to-back days they'll be playing against Union, and then a really good team, Truett McConnell, in the top 25. And then they will conclude their conference season with the completion of a matchup that they had at Columbia College down in South Carolina. The Koalas game with the Buffs was suspended due to a severe weather delay and a severe weather episode down there with 47 minutes left to play. So they'll play 2 minutes, then they'll go to a 5-minute halftime, and then they'll play the second half of that contest. And so if the Buffs can find a way to win out for the rest of this year, which will be a little tough with Truett McConnell, they would have a real shot at the number 2 seed in the conference. Swimming, they just started their season. It just got underway out in Savannah, Georgia, as SCAD Savannah hosted the Buffaloes and also the Kaiser University Seahawks from down in Florida. Those are 3 unbelievable swimming programs at the NAI level. Kaiser, defending national champs. SCAD Savannah, always in the top 3. So that's a huge, huge start to the year for the Buffaloes. They had 17 total provisional qualifying marks across the men's and women's teams. Emily Newman on the women's side, 2 provisional marks in the 200 and 500-yard freestyles. And with that, she was named the Appalachian Athletic Conference Swimmer of the Week on the women's side in the first award of the season. And she's a freshman. So huge for the Buffaloes to have that type of performance from somebody coming in their first year. Bowling got underway. Their season started up in Detroit, Michigan, as they played at the Midwest Collegiate Classic, a Tier 1 tournament that has a ton of really impressive programs attending every year. The men finished in 15th out of 61 teams in attendance at that one. Cameron Shockey placed 11th out of all individuals in that event and was then named the Southern States Athletic Conference Bowler of the Week on the men's side. So that was a huge start for him. And then on the women's side, even better, Emily Cheeseman finished second as an individual, all-tournament team honoree, and ended up also completing Women's Bowler of the Week in the Southern States Athletic Conference. So the Buffaloes swept that award in its first edition of the year. Also, the women's team in that tournament qualified first out of all teams in the competition across the first day of play, and that was the 5-team games and then the 16 Bakers. So really impressive. They went into bracket play the next day. The top 8 teams advanced to bracket play. Buffaloes fell in the first round of bracket play, but again, really impressive to qualify first through the first day of qualifying at a Tier 1 tournament. That's really difficult to do. Cycling, they just competed at the USA Cycling Mountain Bike Collegiate Championships. That was hosted out in Grand Junction, Colorado at the Powderhorn Resort. That was a great event for the Buffaloes. They had 3 cyclists finish in the top 5 of the Omnium standings at the men's and women's sides. So that was really, really good for them. Mountain bike, the one season that the Buffaloes still waiting to get a national champion in. So cross country has been going. They had a weekend off this last weekend, but prior to that, they competed at the App State Fire Tower Project out in Boone, North Carolina. Ellen Mary Kearney on the women's side placed second out of the whole group of individuals, and their team came in third, as that was a heavily Division I field. Lots of really impressive schools at that one, William and Mary being one of them, and also Radford and Coastal Carolina, App State obviously as the host. So a big event for the Buffaloes that they compete in every year. This year just a little bit later than typical years. So on the men's side, Bryson Lewis, top finisher, finished in 15th. And so that was a good weekend for the Buffaloes cross-country squads, as they currently sit at the NAIA, the women at number 2 in the national top 25, and the men at number 3. Tennis upcoming. They haven't played in the last couple weeks. However, they are heading to back to Milligan here to play at Mathis Tennis Center on homecoming weekend against Montreat for a reunion match, as we'll have tennis teams and players from previous years coming back to see the Buffaloes play on October the 25th. It will be a really fun event, big reunion, lots of returning players from past years, and a storied Milligan University tennis program. So that's what's been happening on campus here at Milligan over the last couple weeks, and what's to come coming up here at Milligan University. I'm Brendan Sweany, and we'll be right back after this short break with a fun interview with a couple of Milligan standouts. Welcome back to The Charge, a Milligan Athletics podcast, and it's going to be quite a treat today to talk to a coach and a student athlete for the first time on this edition of the podcast. Sitting beside me is our women's soccer head coach, John Newbery, and one of his players, Lauren Hawkley, coming in as a junior winger. for the team. So welcome onto the show to both of you.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'd love to start first by talking just a little bit of an overarching view with both of you on the program. John, you first. Just tell us a little bit about the journey getting into Milligan and with this program now in your fourth year.
Yeah, so this is fourth year being at Milligan. Super excited, love it here. Came from school in Pittsburgh, and honestly, it's been a great journey going from a team that I walked into where I just walked into preseason, and then over the last 3 years, being able to build that team and see a change in what we were to where we are now. It's been a fantastic experience.
Yeah, I will say, since being here, it's definitely been evident that the team continues to grow, and that's a lot of fun to watch from my perspective. Let's go to you, Lauren, now. Being from outside the U.S., I'd love to hear how it came to be that you heard about Milligan, and then just kind of tell us a little bit about the journey about becoming a Buffalo.
So I've been playing soccer all my life. So once I got to the end of high school, I knew I kind of wanted to continue that. So I started looking at options in America. And I got an agency that represented me, and they got me in contact with John and other coaches. So I spoke to some current players at the time. And yeah, that kind of sold it to me. So I just thought, why not?
Cool. Yeah, that's when you're going as a coach in the NAI level, trying to find players maybe outside the United States. A lot of times, John, that is a difficult thing unless you do have someone representing the players from other countries.
Yeah, so we go through agencies a lot because they typically find good talent, but they also find people that fit the culture, mission statement, academics. All of our international students that we have are extremely bright, brilliant. Typically, they have some of the best GPAs on our team. I think Lauren's one of them. But they also, you can find people that fit the style of play that you want, which Lauren, as well as some of the other ones that we got through agencies, aggressive, good on the ball, want to go forward, transition well, are hardworking and team we players versus me players. So a lot of times agents can help you find that just because there's a lot of options overseas, but we have a good contingent of local tri-state players, as well as we have some from all over the U.S. as well.
For sure. And Lauren, from your point of view, was it like the decision for Milligan to be the place you came to? Was it the fit? Was that what kind of made you feel like this was where you wanted to be?
It was definitely a difficult decision, but I kind of just decided to jump in and try it. And it was definitely a risk, but the benefit definitely proved.
Cool.
I'd almost say the players actually sold it more than anything.
Yeah.
So we had good senior leadership. We had a captain from previously, Taylor Dawson, who basically took her under her wing, but also was one of the first initial people she talked to. So I think when you have people that are older, that they tell you what it is, what it's like, it sells it better than anything that a coach can do or an agent can do.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And, piggybacking off of that, John, with Lauren specifically, how do you see her as a catalyst for your program beyond just like on field and stats?
Yeah, so I think Lauren is one of multiple people that came in as young players that were eager, hungry, and saw a project and a vision with what the possibility could. You could see it on the men's side because they have gone through what we are in the process of doing, where they started off in a kind of an area where they weren't as good, and they built over time by bringing young players, growing them into the culture, getting the older players that were better, getting them into a good position. And what you kind of see is Lauren has been part of that process, where she came in as a freshman, second team all conference her first year, first team all conference her second year. And she's one of multiple people that came in and just knew they're going to grind, but the payoff for what they're going to lay the foundation for is bigger than themselves.
Yeah. And the junior class, I mean, they make up a lot of your roster, about, I think, 15 juniors total on your roster. And probably around 10 or so were original, probably, or 10 to 12 juniors in that group.
I would say 12 to 13 are original, and then we have 2 transfers that just came in that have been impactful as well.
Yeah. So that's huge to have a class that's that impactful for your team. So team's playing really well right now. Beat Pikeville last night 2-1. That's a huge win. You guys right next to each other in the standings going into that one. So that creates a little bit of separation there. Coming down to the end of the year, just a couple more games left and then a completion of a suspended one. So how do you guys as a team, how do you, I guess, come up with goals at the beginning of the season, and then do they change during the season? Do you, are there decisions that are made by players or coaches that, hey, our goal is going to change? But how do you also stick to those types of goals?
Where do you want to take that one?
Yeah, we have our first team meeting of the year during preseason, and we go ahead and set our goals as a team right then, so we know what we're aiming for, and we know what we want to do with that. So we set 3 goals usually, and bring that with the manager.
Awesome.
Yeah. So there's the first team goals, and then there's also the goals within our reserve roster since we have 2 teams.
Yeah.
So the first team has different goals because of how there's playoffs, there's possible national tournament, conference tournament, stuff like that. I think you have different goals also within the reserve team of how they want to develop, grow, how we as a coaching staff want them to grow so that they can filter into the first team. But the first team, the results are what we're looking at, but also how it's done. And then game moments, like I think one of the big ones that they pushed was our 5-5-5 rule, where it's first 5 minutes of each half, 5 minutes after either we score or they score, and then what was the other 5 minutes?
You put me on the spot now.
Yeah, you're welcome. It was your all's
5
thing.
before and after.
5 before and after. Okay, that's the 5 and 5. Yeah. So it's things that are tangible and are objectively, we either succeeded in this goal or we did not. Whereas a lot of times we had goals, I think in the past, where like we want to always give 100% effort, and that's very hard to objectively look at. And I think credit to the girls where they've made goals that they can say we've succeeded, we did not succeed, and then if we didn't, how do we do better? And if we did, how can we push for more? That's
super important to make the goals objective, because when you make subjective goals, I mean, there's no way to really measure that. And a lot of times what that can do is create more frustration for you because you don't know if you're actually hitting your goals. So objective goals, that's a huge thing. And it's a lot of times what people who, are motivators and people like that will tell you, make sure your goals are objective. And so that's a huge thing. John and Lauren, thank you so much for coming in today and being with us on The Charge. We are super excited to see how you guys' season ends.
Thank you.
So are we. Yeah.
All right. And that will do it for the second episode of The Charge, a Milligan Athletics podcast. Thanks for joining us, and tune in next time.